We're diving into a story this time that's both captivating and heartbreaking, the life and legacy of El Tiger.
Yeah.
Some of you might be discovering him for the first time with this, but in the world of Cuban urban music, particularly Cubaton, he was a true icon.
Yeah, and his reach wasn't limited to just one genre or one country even. I mean, landing a track on the Fast and Furious 8 soundtrack.
Wow.
That says something about his global impact.
It really does, and it makes the circumstances surrounding his recent passing even more tragic. As many of you know, El Tiger, born Jose Manuel Carbajal Zaldivar, was found here in Miami on October 4th with a gunshot wound.
Sadly, he passed away on October 11th after fighting for his life for almost a week. The investigation has been, naturally, quite complex. While the initial evidence at the scene pointed towards a possible self-inflicted wound, the Miami police are currently treating it as a homicide.
It's a stark reminder that things aren't always as they appear at first, and waiting for all the facts is crucial. There's another layer to this already intricate situation, though. We know a person of interest is being questioned.
And these investigations, especially with someone as well-known as El Tiger, take time. The pressure is immense to ensure everything is done thoroughly and accurately to get justice for El Tiger and his family.
Absolutely. So let's talk about his journey a bit. El Tiger didn't just become El Tiger overnight, did he?
No, not at all. His musical journey began with groups like Los Four, where he performed with his cousin, Jorge Jr. He then moved on to Los Desiguales before eventually embarking on his incredibly successful solo career.
And when he did go solo, wow. Songs like La Historia, El Papelito, and Habla Matador became instant anthems.
They really did. You see, La Historia wasn't just a song. It was El Tiger telling his story, his struggles, his triumphs. He had this raw honesty in his lyrics that resonated deeply with listeners, especially within the context of Cubaton, this vibrant genre that blends reggaeton with traditional Cuban sounds.
Okay, so for our listeners who might not be familiar, what exactly is Cubaton? I mean, what makes it unique?
It's such a fascinating genre. Cubaton is more than just music. It's a cultural fusion. Think about it. The infectious rhythm of reggaeton, a genre with roots in Panama and Puerto Rico, infused with the rich musical heritage of Cuba, the salsa, the rumba, the son. It creates this sound that's both familiar and entirely me.
It's like a musical conversation between cultures.
Precisely. And El Tiger was a master conversationalist. He didn't just blend those sounds, he embodied them. Take Habla Matador, for example. That song is pure energy, pure El Tiger. It's got that driving reggaeton beat, but then he layers in these incredibly intricate Cuban rhythms and vocal styles. You can't help but move to it.
It makes you think about how his music resonated with so many people, even those who might not have understood all the lyrics. It was about the feeling, the energy.
Absolutely. And this wasn't just a one-way street. El Tiger wasn't just sharing his Cuban heritage with the world. He was bringing those global influences back into his music.
A prime example of that has to be his collaboration with Coscuelo,
Yeah.
one of the biggest names in Puerto Rican reggaeton.
That collaboration was huge. It wasn't just two artists coming together, it was a statement. It showed that El Tiger's music transcended genres and geographical borders. It solidified his place as a major player in the Latin music scene.
It's interesting you mention that because following the news of his passing, there's been an outpouring of support from other artists, particularly Alexander Delgado from Yente de Zona.
Absolutely. And this speaks volumes, especially considering El Tiger wasn't without his share of controversies. He faced some legal issues in the past, but the overwhelming support from his peers paints a more complex, more human picture of the man behind the music.
Yeah, it makes you stop and think, There's a human being behind every headline, someone with complexities and contradictions,
It's so true.
especially in this age of instant judgment on social media. And speaking of his music, El Tiger's final album, Roulette, was released just this past summer. It feels almost bittersweet now, doesn't it?
It does.
Fans have this incredible new music to experience, but there's this lingering sadness, knowing it's his last.
It really does. It adds another layer to the listening experience. You know what I mean? Roulette becomes almost like a time capsule, a final statement from an artist who still had so much to offer. And it's striking. He continues to bridge those musical worlds on this album. He has this fantastic collaboration with Nico G, a newcomer from Ecuador.
That speaks volumes about his character, Always nurturing talent, pushing those creative boundaries. It makes you wonder, how will this tragedy ultimately shape his legacy?
That's the question, isn't it? The million-dollar question. Will people remember the music more than the circumstances of his death? Will this tragedy, introduce a whole new audience to Cubaton, to El Tiger's unique sound?
I keep thinking about his global reach from the streets of Havana to that Fast and Furious soundtrack. His music really did touch so many lives.
It did. And it makes you reflect, how often do we take those things for granted? Do we truly appreciate an artist's work while they're still with us? Or does it take, something like this to make us pause and really listen?
It's a tough question, but an important one.
Yeah,
It really is. It's almost like a wake-up call, isn't it?
it is.
To really appreciate art, to appreciate these artists while we have them. It's a reminder that music, art in general, has this ability to transcend boundaries. It doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak. Music just connects us on this deeper level.
Well, it's that shared human experience, and Tager tapped into that so brilliantly. He combined those infectious rhythms with this raw, honest storytelling. It resonated with people from all walks of life.
Absolutely. And for anyone listening who might be new to Tager's music, where would you recommend they start? What are some must-listen tracks?
Oh, there are so many. If you want to feel that energy that defined his career, I'd say start with La Historia or Habla Meridor. Those songs are pure Tager, that driving beat, those clever lyrics, the way he blends Cuban and international sounds.
And of course, his latest album, Roulé, such a powerful listen, knowing that it's his final work. It's a bittersweet masterpiece.
It really is, yeah. A testament to his talent, his lasting impact on the world of Cubaton.
Tager's story is a reminder to cherish the artists who move us, to delve into the music that speaks to our souls. It's a conversation that deserves to continue, even in the face of tragedy. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, a tribute to the life, legacy, and the enduring music of Tager.